You may not know enough about us yet. You may not completely like us. You may be confused, but I'll tell you that when you get to hear from Jon here in just 15 seconds, I'm bringing him on, you're going to go, well, if he made the decision to be a part of this great company, then maybe there's more to it than what I've been told. Hi, everybody. Grady Polson. Welcome to the America Agency. All right, hello everybody. Grady Polson, the America Agency. So excited to have Jon Rindt on with us today. I met Jon, fortunately, by the good recruiting measure of Mr. Jay Maska a few months ago. Hayden and I went and had some lunch with him, picked our brains, asked us 100 questions, and in the end, it worked out. And fast forward a few months, Jon's agency's doing around $400,000 as a team. And to tell you, just to give some clarity, when I hit vice president at $150,000 a month in 6 months, that was the fastest anyone had ever done it in the history of the company. And that's like Roger Bannister, right? Someone's got to do the 4-minute mile and break the 4-minute mile, because when they were talking about breaking the 4-minute mile, all the scientists thought, they go, you can't do it, your heart will explode. And then now someone does it, and then now the company progresses, we grow, we go virtual, and then we start attracting great people like yourself, Jon, and you come in and in 60 days, get to 400,000. And this is a testament to, one, our opportunity, to your respect and trust as a leader, but also, the desire for people to have more. And I think you've painted that picture very well, that what we do here at FFL and how they can have more. And that's very exciting. So I was so, excited to meet you, excited to see you come in here and do what you said you were going to do, because that's a big thing. A lot of talkers out there. Oh man, I've done this. I've made so much money doing this. I mean, I run the biggest solar team ever, and I'm going to come in and crush it. And then they don't sell. And I'm like, all right, I'm glad you keep knocking doors in Peoria, because at some point you're going to have to get on the phones and sell some people and care about them. But you came in, you did what you said you're going to do, and I'm super excited to just hear the story, from where we are up till today. So, pass it to you, brother. Give us some background, some insight, some clarity on who Jon is, and really excited about this call.
Yeah, 100%. So for myself, I'll just start like growing up as a kid. Grew up in Seattle, Washington. Dad was in the military. When I was about 14, 15 years old, he made some bad decisions. Went to prison for however many years, and I moved out at 15. To Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to live with my uncle, while my mom and my sister lived at my grandparents' house because she couldn't find a job, bad situation, didn't really know what to do. So for me, we had a good family, had money, and then it all came crashing down. And from that day, I kind of made the decision to myself that I would never let something like that happen. I know money is important. I saw my family with money and I saw it without money. Didn't mean we weren't happy together, but I could see there was more options and more opportunities to do things together, right? So starting off there, to be completely honest with you, I watched Wolf of Wall Street and I was like, this looks awesome. Let's do all this without all the crazy stuff. I want to make a ton of money, have boats, whatever. And, from there, I feel like I was just seeking an opportunity. And, fast forward, I was 17 years old, ended up meeting a CEO of a previous company I was at the gym. And one thing he told me is, you could go to college and spend $25,000 a year, graduate $100,000 in debt, or if you work really hard at a sales job, he said, even if you only make $100,000 a year, you're $500,000 ahead of everyone 4 years in. And that made sense to me. College didn't make sense to me, but that equation made so much sense to me. I'm like, okay, well, I could probably start a business with $500,000 and get somewhere way faster than just going to college, making 60, 70 grand. And everyone I know that went to college wasn't doing like anything crazy. And that's not to bash anyone going to college. But so for myself, I made the decision to go all in that opportunity. So I knew for myself, I said, even if this doesn't work out, as long as I can tell myself I did absolutely every single thing I possibly humanly could, if I do fail, I would be okay with that, right? Because that's not really failure in my opinion. Failure is just not giving it 100%, giving it your all, and then you quit and you have regrets. The one thing I don't want to have regrets in my career, my family life, my relationships, is I just don't want to have any regrets. So, at that company, my first year, I was the number one sales agent out of, I don't know, maybe like 500 reps at 18 years old. I made like 250,000. I was on top of the world. Next year in, I started building an agency, got my cousin, a couple other guys in, and we started, hammering the phones. I think that year I made another $250,000. And then something clicked to me where I was like, okay, well, if I can do this, if I can just show other people who I am and what I'm able to do, then I'm going to attract more people. So that's when I got really big into social media, started like telling my story, showing people what I did, and just growing an online presence and building my personal brand. Like, you'll never see me in another t-shirt. It says Rindt with my last name on it. Everything is personally branded, right? So I knew if I could personally brand myself, people would be attracted to that, because I was, attracted to someone that personally branded themselves. That year, smashed a bunch of records, was one of the number one guys in the whole entire company, made $538,000 at 21 years old. Wow. And literally in 1 month, I bought a house, put an $80,000 down payment on a house and a $40,000 down payment on an Audi R8. Like, it was like we'll talk about Wolf of Wall Street. Like, that was it, right? I'm living the dream. And then, fast forward the next year, we did more production, I made less. And then fast forward the next year, we did more production and I made even less. So for me, it just didn't make sense. I could see the goalpost being pushed out further. And I just knew I needed a business where the goalpost wasn't getting pushed out further, because I can perform, but I don't need to perform under somebody else's circumstances, right? So that's pretty much from all the way back to when I was a kid to now. That's kind of been my journey. And then fast forward now, I ended up, thankfully, meeting Jay Maska. He actually worked at my previous company. He slept on the basement under the stairs with 10 other guys and literally sleeping bags and blankets. And I had the master bedroom at the time. But we were at the same company together, and, he texted me and he said, hey, let's go grab dinner. And, so I took him up on it, and, I thought, how stupid would I be to not, at least hear out the opportunity? Because everybody knows, you go to any other company, FFL is like jail. Like, it's terrible. You're $5 million. They take the chargebacks out of your bank account. They put foreclosures on your house, whatever they're saying. So I was scared crapless, right? I was literally mind controlled to think that this company wasn't exactly what it said it was. So, I'm like, all right, whatever. Might as well meet Jay. I see he has a cool car, it's a nice house, living a way cooler lifestyle. And when I knew he was living a cool lifestyle, it's kind of funny. He was on a boat on a Thursday afternoon. And I'm like, dude, if I went on a boat on a Thursday afternoon, I might be killed. I literally might be killed. I'm going to get ripped for doing anything that I liked, right? So, I meet up with Jay Maska, me and my fiance, and we were talking, and I was just asking him questions. It wasn't he was trying to recruit me right then and there, but I was just asking him questions. And every single thing made sense, right? Everything made sense, all the way from the leads to the systems to the structures. So we get back in the car, me and my fiance, we look at, it was out of a movie. We look at each other, we shake our head. We're like, yep, this is what we're going to do for sure. So, I transitioned over here into the brokerage space, and, I just checked the IP reports. We're 350,000 through week 3. And, we're recruiting heavy. We're teaching how to build. We're teaching people how to build their personal brands. But I'm super excited to be here. This is literally almost life-saving. So I'll kind of backtrack. At the old company I went with, I became some sort of an owner, quotations on owner, because you really don't own your business. And for myself, they told me, hey, you're going to have to start developing leads. The best owners are developing leads. And I'm like, oh, well, I buy the leads from you guys. And they're like, okay, start developing a lead. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be coachable. I'm gonna start developing leads. Maybe that's what I'm missing. So I started developing leads, and then I started selling the leads. But the only thing is, they wanted life insurance. They just didn't want our product. So I'm like, okay, we don't have the leads, we don't have the products, and if I just got paid more money, I could obviously do my marketing way better myself. So why am I giving up a percentage of my commission to this company to do the leads, the products, and the marketing. When if you just gave me that extra money, I could do it, so much better. So once I realized, life insurance leads work, because I've never called someone that requested life insurance in my life. Once I realized life insurance leads work and that there are actual better products out there, I was 100% sold on going into the brokerage space, landed with Jay, and I guess the rest is to be continued.
Bro, wow, that's one, congrats on your mindset and your decisions you've had to make and the quick success being coachable. I mean, 538,000 at 21. I mean, you're doing something right. And then the progression to here we are. I have a few comments on all that, and then we'll keep going. But like, I love the bad rap that FFL has. Because we don't know. I mean, I only talk to people that are interested in working with us, right? And so, but you don't know what these other companies are saying about us. And then in the end, you're like, we're going to do 800 million in commissions this year. I mean, we're not growing at the meteoric levels because the opportunity to provide is anything other than what it is at face value. And so that was enjoyable for me to hear. But here's where I have some questions. So one, I would love you to dig in a little bit more just for the new agents or anyone that's watching, because there's new agents that have come here from other sales opportunities that are just like, this seems great, right? You've got leads, you got great training, you got great comp, you got bonuses, you got trips, you got carrier bonus, you got carrier trips, you got all these things, this is just the way it is, right? So they don't exactly know that there's another world out there. But what that comparison is, but also at the same standpoint, you said that you're at year 21 or 22 and 23, you did more volume and made less money. So what happened? Like without using names, obviously what did they do? Like, cause that way we can clarify, like, cause there hasn't been a comp plan change in the 10 years I've been here. The only one that happened, it was in 2019, Sean changed the top comp from 140 to 145. That's the only comp plan change that's been here as long as I have worked at this company. So I would love to hear kind of the differentiating things that maybe happen other places.
Yeah. So one thing you have to ask yourself when you join a sales opportunity is like, is this for example, is this a life insurance sales opportunity where you have the opportunity to recruit if you want to? And then the other side of the industry is this a recruiting company that's, market selling life insurance, right? So, whenever there's, numbers or, benchmarks you have to hit tied to recruiting, it's not, profitable to sell the life insurance, right? So when the average agent isn't making money and the top managers are making a ton of money and the vision is to recruit, get as many people in here as possible, then that's when you're at a recruiting company that happens to somehow sell life insurance, right? So for myself, the recruiting objectives gets bigger, the bonuses go down over time. You have to do more production to get into those bonuses. And for myself, I'm a fast mover. That's one thing I'm like proud of myself about, is like, I'm not scared to take the jump. I was an owner at that company. Get this, I pulled out a $100,000 personal loan to fund that business. I think I made $70,000 in 7 months at an owner at a previous company, right? So I blew through $100,000. I gave every single thing I could. And when I realized this isn't going to work, it was a fast pivot, because I realized the agent wasn't making money. I was making okay money, but it still wasn't the money that, I was used to. Usually when you get a promotion, you get a pay increase,
Yeah.
I wasn't getting a pay increase. So it didn't make any sense. And I was working like literally harder than I ever had in my life.
Got it. So just changes, right? They're just making it harder. And when you look at it, why would they do that? They're not making money. So they've got to change some things internally to keep the company profitable. And oftentimes when you have big old companies, there's a lot of people wearing, ties in a high tower that's got to get paid. And, Bob and Steve and Jim and Tim don't want to take a pay cut. So let's take it from the reps. Let's just, the volume still. So it's an antiquated philosophy. I mean, fortunately, FFL runs thin. I mean, that's one of Sean's visions from early on, is that his mentality was, how can I pay the agents as much money as absolutely possible and make as little as possible to keep the company open? And the margins have been the same, if not gotten smaller from then. But those small margins, like Amazon, have equated to now a gigantic company, because you create an environment where people don't want to leave. So So, okay. So you've given us some insight, but now you're a broker. So what is, so if we were to talk like captive versus broker, what are some, 3, 5, 17 different differences and things that you have that you love now that you were back in the day just thought this is just the way it is?
Yeah, for sure. So, I'll almost take you like through my recruiting pitch. It's like
Please,
if you look at the pillars of life insurance, okay, the first thing you got is leads, right? Ask yourself a question, use this thing called common sense. If I'm talking to people who request life insurance versus requesting another product, and then you slip the word life insurance in, cross your fingers, hope they buy, just use common sense. Which one do you think is more interested in life insurance? Probably the person who's requesting life insurance for their family, right? So that was the first thing that I noticed that was wrong about the business I was in. Now, the second thing is you have products, right? So when you can only sell one product, who's fighting over your business? No company's fighting over your business. So they don't have to make the applications easier. They don't have to innovate the product because the reps they can only they're captive. They're in chains. They're locked up to only sell that product. In the brokerage space, you got 30, 50 different life insurance companies you can sell for. They're fighting for your business. So what are they going to do? They're going to make the product cheaper, not cheaper, but less expensive for the client. They're going to make the product better for the client, and they're going to make the pay good for the agent, and they're going to make sure that the application is easy for the agent. So the biggest thing I know on the product side is there's literally zero innovation on the captive side because, it's you're literally captive. You can't do anything about it, right? So for me, I like to do good by people, and I realized there was a way to do better by people. It put such a bad taste in my mouth, for the captive agency side. And then if you look at marketing, right? Build it, we're in the era of like social media, building your own brand, everything like that. Nobody cares what your company's doing. They want to know what you're doing, right? So for me, at a previous company, I'm giving up maybe 60, 70, 80% of my commissions to this company to have cool names, sponsor cool things, whatever they're doing with the money. For myself, I'm able to take that money, build my own personal brand. And I promise you, just like I saw Jay Mask on a boat on a Thursday, that's going to convince someone to go want to work with you rather than, hey, we work with so-and-so and do so-and-so and, whatever that may be. So, looking at the marketing side, the next best thing, the best way to market, as Grady, is to get results, right? So, FFL, what I tell everyone is in 13 years, they're doing $800 million in production. If you go look at the other captive side of any captive side, what kind of growth do you guys have? Have you guys been open for 50 plus years, 75, 100 plus years? You can't even touch the amount of production that we're touching. So then again, one of my favorite words, common sense, comes in. Do you think people are staying because it's worse? Of course not. They're not staying because it's worse. They're staying because it works. And just like you said, the agents are making money. Therefore, the managers are making money. Therefore, that they have a stable business. For me, I don't have to send text messages out to recruit. I attract. It's called magnetic marketing because like they're attracted to me because I'm able to build a business, build a personal brand, have not work 97 hours, a day, and then get yelled at for my production, and the goalpost doesn't keep getting pushed out. So when people realize, the captive space versus the brokerage space, there's not one, like you could name anything. There's not one part of the business that's better than ours. Like not one.
I need a microphone to drop, bro. I think that it's unfortunate that we don't make everybody go work at a captive company before they come here, right? It's like, or we don't charge a ton for people to join because they take it for granted. Now, many people take it for gratitude and they just work their faces off and they build incredible lives here. Many people do that, but the majority is just a common, laws of society is most people will come and they go, well, they got leads, but one person didn't answer. And it's still a business, ladies and gentlemen, and they're leads. They're not sales, right? You got to talk to them, right? But on a scale of 100 leads, 25 are ready to buy, 50 you're going to have a conversation with, and 25 already died. So it's just kind of the way it is. So but as we progress, to hear your passion about coming from where you were and the frustration and you've got some, trauma from late night, early morning text messages of people just harassing you. You're like, I'm one of the top guys here. Why are you yelling at me still? Okay. Well, yell at me long enough, mother, father. I'm going to take my business elsewhere. Well, here we are. So, any more you want to share just on captive brokerage, and we can transition to kind of how you're getting agents rolling so fast, because I think that's important for everybody to learn from too. But any other parts of this?
Yeah, I would say one thing, like if you want to know if you're in the right space, what are people telling you to do? Another big thing is, what are people telling you to do with your money? I know at previous companies I was with, they get their first 5-10 grand in the bank. They're financing a Rolex to recruit. They're putting 10 grand down on a $100,000 car after their first big month, right? So look at what people are telling you to do. Is it in the best interest of yourself financially? Is it in the best interest of your family financially in the future? Or is it in the best interest to build somebody else's team? Is it in the best interest to build somebody else's business? And then for people who say because obviously, Greg, you probably know one of the biggest rebuttals we get about Family First Life is, oh, you got to pay for leads. These people are going to give it to us for free, right? Yeah. Well, people need to realize, I don't know any business in America that doesn't pay for marketing or leads, right? Because if all a lead is an opportunity for a sale. If you ever see an Amazon buy this vacuum, all that is an opportunity for Amazon to get a sale, right? So if you're a real business, but you're not buying opportunities and you're having somebody else go and buy those opportunities and taking a pay cut, and they're not even doing it the best way in the industry, then you're just at the wrong place. So when people say, oh, I got to buy leads, I mean, starting commissions at captive companies, you just chat GPT it, you'll figure it out. We're going to pay you almost 150% more so you can invest into leads. So even if you made the same, what I tell people is even if you made the same percentage off of the sale that you do there, which we make way more, that's not even a question. Even if you made the same percentage, you can buy the best leads. You can start your brand new producers, on the freshest leads that the top producer that just wrote $1 million in a year is doing. So it's just a better way for your business, And then I always like to ask people, what's your tax ID number? What's the EIN? Do you actually own a business? Probably not, right? 1099. But that's pretty much it on the captive space. I would say
it's so good because any business is spending money on marketing. Your Amazon approach was spot on. That this is our marketing dollars. Now, some people, in fact, most aren't mature enough or self-disciplined enough to be business owners. And they might be best served taking a 40% comp at a captive company that's giving them free leads and a 60% advance because you don't have the discipline. Now, we're not here to negotiate or argue the principles of math, right? But spending money on interested people and having a 150% higher compensation rate is just math, right? It's just that's just the simplicity of this business. And I love when because when the people that get it or go, oh, that makes way more sense. This is just who you want to. We're not looking for everybody. And if the people that are arguing about that is someone that just doesn't understand it, and that's okay. Just stay where you are. Just you do you, man. You do you. But those that get it, come over here. And that's what I love about leads so much. Is that leads are people that truly love their family so much, they're filling out a request on a paper card and mailing it in. They're calling on the phone and giving personal information, or they're filling out a form online and hitting send and waiting for a stranger to reach out to them to talk about how they can protect the people they love the most. And to tell us that, right now we're blessed to be partnered with Integrity Marketing Group, $15 billion insurance juggernaut, who has created Lead Center that has at this moment 500,000 ready to purchase leads. 100,000 of them are brand new, generated in the last 7 to 30 days. 400,000 of them are aged. Guess what? None of those leads in there have bought insurance because our Lead Center talks to the carriers. That's what billion-dollar companies do. So if they bought insurance, boop, we delete out a Lead Center. If they never bought, they just roll into an aged lead. We had Christina Andy on a couple months ago, who spends $150 a week on leads, buying 100 bronze aged mortgage bronze final expense mailers for $1.50 each. She gets $150 in leads, calls them, reaches out to them, takes some time because they're old leads, and then digs out referrals because she came from a company like yours where it was 100% basically if you're not getting sales unless you're getting referrals. And that's the beauty though. A lead is a chance. So Jon, I love it, man.